on Larry King Now, the famed actress and musician Keke Palmer.
I like being creative. That's my favorite thing. I love dancing, I love singing, I love entertaining, I love making people happy.
Fame early, was that good for you or not?
For a long time, I tried to deny it, but it was very traumatizing for me. Being able to say something to somebody, but them not believing you, them not being able to connect to you.
Scream Queens is pretty over the top.
In all honesty, I'm just as extra as our show is. So for me, to portray Zayday is like portraying an exaggerated version of myself.
Plus, anything you believed to be true that you found out wasn't.
Adulthood. It's a whole gag.
We're all kids.
We're all kids. We're all
That's
kids.
So true. It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. At only age 23, Keke Palmer has already made her mark on Hollywood in a big way, with nearly 50 acting credits, 2 studio albums to her name. On screen, Keke is widely known for roles in acclaimed films like Akeelah and the Bee and Woolcap, more recently for her starring role in the Fox TV series Scream Queens, and now she's added author to her resume with the release of her new book, I Don't Belong to You, Quiet the Noise and Find Your Inner Voice. 23, you write a book? What's left?
My whole life to live.
Why would you write a book at such a tender age?
Because I feel like there's so many things that I've been able to learn throughout my career that I would, because of the different places I've gone, different work I had to do. I learned so much, so much on my plate, and I realized a lot of things I felt like my generation had questions about, but at the same time, I have questions for them because there are things I didn't experience that they experienced. And so I really just wanted to create a conversation to discuss all that,
You started young.
Yeah. Started at 9.
All right, you write this about your book. This is a book about you and I connecting, but it's also about us separating ourselves from what is no longer useful, detaching ourselves from moments, places, ideas, and people that cloud our thinking, wrongly influence our perspectives, and damage the way we see ourselves. So what inspired this?
My journey on learning how to free myself and to remain free. Growing up in the industry, I felt like so many different ideas and concepts were put on me. I came into the game young, kid.
What age?
9. Fresh and excited and all that stuff. And then as you get in, it's like, oh, you remind me of this person, or you should be like this, and this is what I see for you. And I found myself, 14, 15, very depressed and lonely and not knowing why, not knowing, how I found myself there, what the feelings I was feeling. I felt caged and I felt trapped. And it took me a long time to realize that was because I was trying to be everything everybody wanted me to be. I found myself trying to make everyone else happy with me being me, instead of just me being happy with me being me.
So this book is both about your own transformation, or your own coming through, as well as to help the reader.
Yes, and to also say that, guess what? The gag is, it's never ending. We're gonna keep on transitioning and changing throughout our lives. I've realized this.
Who should read it?
Anybody that is ready for a change.
At any age?
At any age. Anybody that's ready for a change. Because I'm not talking down or up to anybody. I'm just saying it like it is, from my point of view.
You discuss, I can't wait to read this, race, sexuality, dating, anxiety, family, faith, all in the context of your own life.
Yes.
Why did you want to tell this?
Growing up, my parents really worked very hard, again, because I was in the industry and they knew all that could bring to keep me grounded, putting me in community organizations and, making sure that I know about the people that inspired them, the Muhammad Ali's, the Ozzie Davises, the Ruby Dees. And what I learned and what they made clear to me was that, first of all, there is no happy life without a life of service. And then secondly, you don't just, people in their time didn't just entertain to just entertain. They entertained and then they had something to say. They, especially the African American community had something to say because, there's so much that we want to be said. And so growing, from that and learning and internalizing and living my own life, I realized that it was true what my parents said the whole time, and everything that they did for me, I'm so grateful for, because
Amazing how smart they got.
my parents are off the charts.
Did they encourage you to be in the business you're in?
No, they didn't. I should say they encouraged me once I was in it, but in the beginning, growing up, my parents just always talked about entertainment business. They always talked about like theater and stuff like that, the arts. We always went to the movies and watched movies at home. We always guessed, oh, do you know, I bet that's Jerry Bruckheimer that produced that. You know, we were that kind of family. And so when we read in the newspaper about Lion King auditions, my parents knew I loved to sing because I sang in church. And they were like, do you want to go down? And I said, you know what, why not? You know, I will be able to try this new acting thing.
What do you got to lose?
What I got to lose, you know?
Fame early, was that good for you or not?
For a long time, I tried to deny it, but it was very traumatizing for me. You know, I think I know I talk about that a lot in the book. Trying to internalize those feelings of, you know, being able to say something to somebody, but them not believing you, them not being able to connect to you, being able to say, yo, I'm no different from you, but they don't believe you.
The book is I Don't Belong to You, Quiet the Noise and Find Your Voice. The guest is Keke Palmer. When we return, we'll look back at Keke's start in the industry, including some of her most notable big screen roles. Plus, what does the future hold for screen queens? Don't click away. Our guest is Keke Palmer. What a story, and only 23. My God, where are you going? I want to discuss a recent incident you publicly addressed.
Yeah.
On Instagram, the R&B singer Trey Songz. He was a guest here.
Ah.
He released a new music video for his song Pick Up the Phone, and you make a cameo appearance, as I understand it. But you say you never authorized him to use your likeness.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you doing there if you didn't want to be in the video?
Well, it was a party.
Oh,
it was a regular party. You know, I was in Miami for New Year's, a lot of friends there, people there. You know, so I just went to hang out, and then it turned into a video.
You didn't know it would be a video?
No, I didn't know.
Did you see cameras?
Yeah, when I started to see cameras, I was like, okay, they filming a video, ain't got nothing to do with me, you know, until they started asking me to be in it.
They did ask you to be in it?
Yeah, more than once.
And you said no?
Yeah, more than once.
Why did you say no?
Because I wasn't in the right mind. I had been drinking and eating, and it wasn't a professional environment. It was not a place where I'm like, I'm in the right mind to decide if this works with my brand, if I like the artist. I don't know nothing about the artist, that it's also in the song.
Did you say no to the producer or to Trey?
I said first no to the producer, then said no to the assistant, and then said no to Trey, and then said it again after I, you know, came out the closet.
What did you mean by sexual intimidation?
I mean, just that, sexual intimidation. You know, I mean, like, I feel as a female, often I'm put in situations where sometimes males will use their masculinity, their sexuality to taunt you. You know, I hate to have to bring and say that and make it known, but I mean, look, I ain't the first person that's gone through. People have gone through this all the time. In college, in high school, but these aren't the things that I've experienced. So this was like kind of one of my first major experiences. You know, it would be like you going to a party where the biggest jock is there, and the whole time he's like, you know, you can get screwed, you can get this, you can get that, you know, and you ain't no little girl no more. You know, a thought came into my head, which somebody that is just as, you know, successful, I admire, Ice Cube. He told me when I was a kid. I filmed a movie with him called The Long Shots. And he told me, he took me to the back of the room. You know, I came into the set and I said, hey, and hugged all the crew members, was hi, like I always did. And he pulled me to the side, he said, I need to talk to you. And I was so scared, like I don't know what he's gonna talk to me about. And he's like, you need to understand that you are a young woman that's maturing. And not every man that you meet from now until when is going to have the intentions that you have when you're around them. So you need to be careful and you need to understand what's going on. So pretty much you don't get exploited.
Good advice.
Great advice.
When did you see the video?
I saw the video literally 4 days ago.
And you posted that. Have you heard from Trey since you posted it?
I haven't heard from him directly, no.
Who'd you hear from?
I heard from my manager, you know.
And your manager said what?
The same thing that everybody always says, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know.
So your manager had no knowledge of it?
No, not my manager, saying that, you know, Trey said I didn't know.
Are you planning to take legal action?
Yes, I am. I mean, the video is down now. But I mean,
but
more so,
it's
out and it's over, but I feel more so my point isn't to say it's not just specifically about this person, this guy, and what he did. It's the overall idea that you can't just do stuff to people and it's all right, no matter who you are. No matter who you are.
You got a right to stand up.
You know, and you got to stand up for yourself. That's really my whole point, is that I'm going to stand up for what I feel, and if I feel like something wasn't done right to me, I'm going to say that.
You made your acting debut in 2004. That's 12 years ago.
Yes.
You were 11.
Keeling the Bee. Well, that's one of my major. The first thing I ever did was Barbershop 2, where I played Queen Latifah's niece. I was only 9. It was a little bit role. My character's name was literally Queen Latifah's niece. You know what I mean?
Those movies were wildly successful, right?
Yes, shout out to Ice Cube. Knowing him for a long time, and Queen, been great supporters in my career. But the first major thing I had done was Keeling the Bee with Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett.
Fishburne's a great guy.
He is. I talk about him in the book, too.
Are you glad you went into the business so early? Some stars who were child stars regret it.
I think I am happy for the most part, because I feel as if all my mistakes, or no, I shouldn't say all my mistakes, because I'm gonna always make mistakes, that's part of life. But I feel like a lot of the major things that I had to learn and endure in finding myself and discovering my passion, I feel like they happened so young. And I'm so happy that they happened so young, because they don't have to happen now at 23, So I'm happy, but then also at the same time, everything has a good and a bad too. Everything has polarity.
As a young woman of color, you think it was harder to break in?
You could say.
But you were so young, how could it be hard?
It honestly, and as a kid, I didn't think about those things. I was thinking in my mind, this part is just as much mine as it's yours. And I'm so grateful for that. Because I started so young, a lot of those kinds of things didn't really get to me. They maybe got to me later on, but they didn't get to me as a kid.
Have you experienced discrimination?
Yeah. I experienced discrimination before the industry. I grew up in Illinois, went to a private school, only black kid in my class. So I experienced discrimination before the industry.
When we return, I will put Keke in the If Only You Only Knew hot seat, and you won't want to miss it. Either the book is I Don't Belong to You, and if you watch the first 2 segments, you know she don't belong to you. We'll be right back. We're back with Keke Palmer. So glad meeting you. You're an extraordinary young lady.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I'm glad to meet you.
You released an album in 2016.
Yes.
You're going to have more music?
Very excited, yes. I just released the EP. 5 songs, visuals to it. Shout out to Rosero. And I definitely am going to be working on my album. I'm currently working on my album.
Do you want to break through as a musical artist too?
I feel like I used to think about it like that. But then I realized there's no such thing. Just do what you want to do. Once I stopped waiting for people to accept me as an artist, that's when I became one. I spent so much time worrying about, at first as a kid, I never worried. And then at a certain point, through my coming of age, I just cared about people believing me to be what I was. And it's like, why? People are going to believe whatever they want to believe, And at the end of the day, you are what you repeatedly do, as said by Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So once I realized that, it was just like, thank goodness, load off my back. Like, it doesn't really matter who believes in me. Thank God I have an acting career that can support my music career, because I can put my own money into my music videos. I don't need nobody can stop me,
You're a sharp lady. Where's home?
Home is now in Atlanta.
Why?
California got 2 Hollywood. California has one industry. At least LA, I should say. It's the Hollywood industry. And, I did Broadway, and I spent a lot of time in New York.
What'd you do on Broadway?
I did Cinderella. And it changed my life, because I realized that there was more to life. There are so many different industries in New York.
Why Atlanta?
Atlanta, because New York is expensive, and because I knew in Atlanta I can really focus on my music. I can have a base of focus. The kind of person I am is that I'm definitely guided by my creativity. So in Atlanta,
it's a great town, but the summer.
The summer is hot, but I'm used to that. I like hot summers, from Chicago. Did a lot of work in Atlanta. So.
It's Hotlanta.
Hotlanta.
That's what they call it. Artists you want to collaborate with?
Oh, many artists. I would love to work with Drake. I would love to work with the Migos. I would love to work with, can't think of everybody, but so many people.
Okay, let's play a game of If You Only Knew. Okay, I asked you some questions, we flip it to.
Okay?
Funniest fan encounter?
When somebody, I was sleeping in the airport, and literally a fan came up to me and woke me up out my sleep and was like, girl, I just had to say hey. I was like, hey, girl.
Place we'd find you on your day off?
Right, my homegirl Courtney's house. Hang out with my homegirl Courtney a lot.
Your home who?
My homegirl. Homegirl, you know, homegirl, Larry.
Got it. Best piece of advice you ever got?
Oh, always be yourself, my mama.
Worst piece of advice you ever got?
Curiosity killed the cat.
Person you'd like to switch places with for a day?
Person I would like to switch places with for, probably Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to switch places with him for a day.
Not bad idea. Superpower you wish you had?
Teleportation. That has always been one of my, I want to
go where?
Anywhere at any time. I would love to be able to teleport. It would just save me so much. If I could just, there. With no side effects, because that movie Jumper scared me. They had too many side effects.
Anything you believed to be true that you found out wasn't?
Oh, adulthood. It's not true.
A what?
Adulthood. It's a whole gag.
We're all kids.
We're all kids. We're all
That's
kids.
so true. 89 years old.
I really don't like that parents do that. We gotta stop doing that. When I tell to my kids, I'm gonna say, guys, I'm a kid too. I'm just big and lived longer, but there's no such thing as growing up. You're gonna always never know nothing.
You are so right. What's your pet peeve?
Probably this. I hate that smacking.
You know people that do that?
My mom used to do it all the time. Love you, Mom.
If you could take one person from history to lunch, who would you take?
One person from history to lunch. Harriet Tubman. Girl, tell me about the Underground Railroad.
Great woman. Biggest risk you ever took?
Being myself.
Artist from yesteryear you wish you could have collaborated with?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Tupac Shakur, Salt and Pepper, TLC.
Michael Jackson?
How you know? Well, Michael Jackson.
I took a wild guess. Something you couldn't live without?
My brain.
Most rebellious thing you've ever done?
Do my talk show.
And Keke Palmer in 10 years?
A mayor. A mayor.
Of?
Atlanta.
The mayor of Atlanta. Whoa.
And, you know, founder of something similar to a Motown Records.
Do you speak out politically?
I do.
What do you think of President Obama?
I think he was great for what he did. You know, I think that Obama did awesome. I love Obama, but at the end of the day, I feel like we as people let so many of our presidents and things down because we don't really take our stance. You know, we don't really pay attention to our local elections. We don't pay attention to the things that are going to help give them a balanced House of Congress.
Can't even name their own congressman.
I just realized, and I'm going to sit here and be honest, I just realized these things. You know, so I have to say to myself, like, come on, girl.
What do you think of Mr. Trump?
I think that the system is not broken. I think that it is working exactly how it was designed to. So I'm not shocked that he's the president. I'm shocked that we shocked.
What about Scream Queens? It just ended its second season. Is it going to continue?
Well, fingers crossed. Don't know yet, but shout out to Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy, I was in the OJ thing that he did.
Yes!
But there were two directors. I was directed by the other guy.
Who, Brad or Ian? Probably.
Hemingway.
Hemingway!
Mr. Hemingway. There were two directors.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that.
Hemingway rode around on a bike and he directed. He was funny.
So awesome.
That was a great series.
Yeah, it really was. He's awesome. Very, very, very genius.
Okay, Scream Queens, you play who?
I play Zayday Williams.
And there's a lot of guest cameos, right? John Stamos comes on.
Well, he's on there. He's on the show, series regular. We have Kirstie Alley, Jamie Lee Curtis, one of my favorites.
Oh, great girl.
Emma Abigail, Billy Lord.
So what's the betting on season 3?
It feels good to me. I mean, the kids.
When do they let you know?
I don't know. I should be knowing like within the next couple of months. I mean, Scream Queen season 1, it was immediately because it was like, okay, Scream Queen season 1. But every time on third seasons, you're always like, okay, we'll see.
What do you like most? You like singing, acting, writing, what? You like the whole business, right?
I like creative. You know, I like being creative. That's my favorite thing. I love dancing, I love singing, I love entertaining, like I love making people happy. That's my favorite thing. As I grow, I feel like, of course, entertainment's gonna always be there for me, but I definitely feel like I can see myself in many different things. Politics, humanitarian work. People mean a lot to me.
Want to be a mother?
Yes, I would love to be a mom. I would love to have a family. And it just seems like, I don't know how I can do all these things, but...
Hard.
I guess I gotta just...
Are you in a relationship?
No.
Have you been in a relationship?
I have before, yeah.
Divorced?
I have been before.
Oh. You couldn't have been divorced with all this going on. My God. You're 78 years old. In our final moments, Keke will take fan questions sent in via social media. Stay with us. The book is I Don't Belong to You. The guest is Keke Palmer, and we have some fan questions for you. Mrs. Sands on the Larry King Now blog. If you weren't in entertainment, what do you think you'd be doing?
I could see myself probably being a hairstylist or a therapist, because they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah. At KJM1016 on Twitter, is it true you have a twin sister?
No, I wish. Oh my gosh. I have a couple personalities, though.
It says, if so, have you ever switched places with her? Was that a thought that you ever...
I wish I did.
At Finnegan Gregory on Twitter, what keeps you so inspired?
My faith, my belief in God,
Have you ever doubted that?
Yes, I have. And I remember I was so scared about it. One night I was actually doing like a promo tour, and I was doing a lot of soul searching. I grew up Catholic. My mom grew up Baptist, so in my household it was not too strict, but to a certain degree, because my father's also a deacon. So I grew up with a very strong foundation, a strict idea of who God, religion, and what all that stuff is. And as I got older and I started to realize that God was becoming too small to me. My idea of him was becoming so small to the point where I was entrapped in it, mentally. And I started to read and search and, look and think about things. And I came across Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth. And I remember I was reading it, and it was all coming into my mind, but it was scaring me so much, because I started to realize that God was so big that it was just like, oh my God, well, how can I grab it, And I went into my mom's room at the hotel, and I was crying, and I was just, I'm a fraud, I'm somebody that speaks about God, that was a strong believer of God, but I don't believe right now. I don't understand. I can't attain it. What does this mean? Who am I? What is this about? And she said, Keke, this is all normal. God cannot be intellectualized. He can only be felt.
Well said. Jacqueline Faith on Twitter, Scream Queens is pretty over the top. Is it hard to suspend your own disbelief to play Zayday?
Yes and no, because in all honesty, I'm just as extra as our show is. So for me, to portray Zayday is like portraying an exaggerated version of myself.
Carl Monroe on Facebook, did you ever receive any backlash for being an interracial couple in Joyful Noise?
You know what? That's one thing I've never experienced, which is I wonder, I've experienced a lot of different things in that same kind of category, but never in any of the films I've played, because a lot of my work, I've been in interracial relationships. No one's ever made comments on it.
Have you ever had a personal interrelationship?
I have.
Yeah? You dated white men?
Yeah, I have. I dated a white guy before.
Annie Dawson on the Larry King Now blog, is there someone from history you'd like to portray?
Many different people in history I would like to portray, but I definitely think, it depends on what history you're talking about. Because I'm thinking about the history of people. I would love to play Naomi Campbell. I would love to know her story, more in depth.
I know her well. She's a terrific lady. And so are you.
Thank you.
A big thanks to my guest, Keke Palmer. Be sure to pick up a copy of her new book, I Don't Belong to You. Quiet the noise and find your voice. It's available now, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. I'll see you next time.